This one's interesting. This one is very interesting. So I'm gonna read it, and you guys sit back, sit tight, and yeah. So Chris,
I'll be taking
notes. Good,
yeah,
perfect. So let's see. Let's get into this. Over 200K in debt, and I need help.
Okay.
I have a significant amount of debt that I've racked up. I keep reading that I should not tap into my 401k, but it seems that it is the only viable option to get me started. Household income, 190,000. That's pretty sizable.
No, that's really good.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
4 kids, that's also sizable. That's also a lot of kids. Maybe not a lot of kids, but it's a good amount of kids. Necessities, mortgage, utilities, groceries, vehicles, insurance.
Okay.
$5,500. Current debt list. This is where it gets a little interesting, and this is obviously like a no judgment zone. You know, we're here to help. There's no judgment. You know, we all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes. We take ownership of it, and we try to work our way out of it. But yeah, definitely no judgment. Everyone comes to FI at different points in their life.
Of course. So getting into the list on the debts, we've got credit cards, 8,000 in credit card, 20%, 10,000 at 0%, 0% on the credit card. How's that work?
So my guess is that it was probably an intro offer. Sometimes credit cards will give you an intro offer, like the first year or 6 months, there will be zero debt, or zero interest. But then after that year or 6 months, then it bumps up to like 26%.
Gotcha. Okay.
So my assumption is this will probably jump up at some point.
Okay.
Maybe they consolidated.
Keeping on with it, 15K at 26%, 20K at 26%, 20K at 26% again, and 23K at 10%, totaling about 96K in credit cards. That's sizable. That's definitely a lot.
Okay.
Almost 100,000. Not done yet though. And let's see, loans 10K at 9%, 45K at 19%, and a 50K at 9%. With the HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, for those that don't know. Basically using your house as collateral, as I would assume, right?
Yeah, and so typically you'll get lower interest rates because a credit card, they have high interest rates because they're uncollateralized, meaning that you can go bankrupt and if you walk away, you walk away. But with a HELOC, you're actually putting the house up as collateral, which gets you a lower interest.
And for those who don't know, collateral is something that you put up, so if you don't pay, they take.
Yeah, they can take a portion of the equity of the home.
Gotcha. Do they often take the whole home, or they just take a portion of the equity, or does it depend case by case?
So it's up. Unfortunately, the majority of the time, if someone's in this situation, they're going to have to sell the home in order to have the liquidation event to pay off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interesting. Not good. So we got 105 in loans, total 201,000 in debt, but the upside is he's making 190,000. Now, obviously, he has expenses. Mm-hmm. You know, he has 4 kids. He's got utilities, necessities, all that stuff, fixed costs. So it's not like, I can just wash this in a year and 2 days, mm-hmm. you know? So let's talk a little bit about this person, this viewer, and where do they start? Let's see here. There's still a little bit more that I'm seeing here that they wrote in. So let's continue to finish that off so that I can have all the information that I need.
Absolutely. So a lot of this started making this dumb mistake and consolidation. Let's see. Okay.
So a lot of this started by making a dumb mistake in consolidation and then not cutting up my credit cards and using them again. Budgeting has me at putting an additional $400 to $500 towards principal a month. Mm-hmm. I'm in my late 30s now and have $200,000 in one 401k account and another 401k account that I never rolled over that has another $40,000, which I never withdrew, but could to get me started on knocking out this debts. But I will take a 20% hit because he's in his early 30s.
Yeah, and you don't want to pull out money from your 401k that is growing to pay off stuff that is a debt, right?
Yeah.
In this case?
Yeah, so let me just continue to read on with what he said. With as much as it's not advised to withdraw my 401k, I feel like it's my only option at this point. Mm-hmm. I've reached out to set up a DMP. DMP stands for Debt Management Plan based off the context here.
Okay.
And they can get me set to knock out 50% in 4 years. Most importantly, also close the credit cards so I can't use them again.
Yeah, that's important. Okay.
Okay. If I don't withdraw my 401k, it will take, or if I do withdraw my 401k, it will take out my biggest payment of $1,300 a month, which will give me more to put towards my debt management plan, as well as put me back on track towards saving towards my current 401k. My employer will match 100% up to 5%, which would essentially replenish my whole 401k back to current states in 2 to 3 years. I don't really understand that portion.
I don't understand that part either. That might maybe a typo.
Yeah,
That sounds a little.
it's a little off.
It's a little off.
It's okay.
But let's get back into that information.
And
So
I like this. From a guy in a bind trying not to fall farther behind.
I like that.
We're here for you, man.
We're here
All
for you.
right.
I like. I want to get that as on a bumper sticker or something. So let's talk a little bit about that. 400 to 500 on the principal each month. 500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. On $201,000 in debt. That's going to take a long. Can you even catch? That's a long time. That's not a viable strategy, I would think. Right?
So I have a few different things when I hear this case as an advisor for what I would do. So first off, the gentleman said he has $190,000 a year. He didn't mention anything about a wife.
No.
So obviously we don't have all the information that we need, but let's just kind of work through this.
From income for those.
And then remember, I am a fiduciary advisor, but I am not your fiduciary advisor. So this is all for information and educational purposes only. So if he's making $190,000 a year, he has 4 kids. So let's assume that he's married for this point.
Got to make the kids somehow.
After taxes, given that he's married, filing jointly, assuming that he has no state income tax and he's not taking any deductions, with 4 kids he should be, he's going to be making around $168,000 after taxes.
Still pretty good. Still really good.
That's really good.
It's what, 10%? 5% of the country?
Yeah,
Doesn't make that?
that's a very small amount.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that kind of I don't understand. He said that his fixed cost is $5,500 a month. So that means a year he's spending $66,000 in fixed costs.
Okay.
But he's making $168,000. So where's that other $100,000 going?
Yeah. So it's either not being. He might not be giving the right number. Like the 5,500. What I'm thinking is from being around you and like you teaching me a little bit. The number that we think we're spending is a lot higher than it actually is. Like we're spending more than we think we are.
Yeah.
And you think that's kind of what's happening here?
I do. I think he's either grossly underestimating his fixed costs, or he could be right on his fixed costs, but he is spending very lavishly on discretionary things. You know, $100,000 basically on things a year, and plus more in order for him to get himself into this $200,000 in debt.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something we'd have to look at. But let's just dig into this a little bit deeper. So we have 9 debts. They're all high debts, and they all have high interest rates.
Yes.
Best case, if we're putting $400 to $500 a month and then rolling the extra, it's going to take you a long time. You're really not even eating to the principal. So I would definitely recommend doing either the snowball, the avalanche, or the hybrid approach, which we've talked about in previous podcasts.
And just a quick recap. Do you want to go over that?
Sure. Yeah. So the snowball approach would be we take out for this gentleman, whatever one has the lowest amount. So he has a credit card debt that has $8,000 on there. So we'd want to take that one out first.
Okay.
And then after that, we'd move on to the $10,000 one, either the credit card or the personal loan.
Gotcha. So from low to high.
Low to high based off of the values of the accounts. The debt avalanche approach would say we take out the one with the highest interest. So that would be these 20,000 credit cards at 26%. We want to take those out first, and then continue to move on to the other credit cards, and then move down to this loan that's 45,000 at 19%. I'm not sure what that is either. Or you can do the hybrid approach where you can do a little bit of A and then a little bit of B.
I like the hybrid because it's not like today I'm doing the snowball. It's like it's not an official document. Like it's just a personal plan, you know. So you could do the hybrid, you could do the snowball, you could do the debt avalanche. You know, it's whatever you feel best. If you like small wins, small wins. If you like taking out the biggest interest rate, bam, take that one out, you know?
Yeah. And then I think the second point that I would say this is we really need a budget for this guy. I would say he needs to basically kill his bad spending habits immediately. And I would probably say there's not even really much of a reason to even do this debt management plan if you don't change the underlying habits.
Exactly.
Because he's going to fall into this again, which it seems like he already has. So we have to do like a detailed review of his budget the past year. I would pull every single bank statement, every credit card statement, everything, and see exactly where you spent money. How did we end up in this situation? If your fixed costs are $66,000, you're making $170,000 after taxes. Where's that extra $100,000 going?
So you'd create a plan for him, basically.
Yeah, you need to create a plan as to where it's going. But if this guy can live off $66,000 and he has $100,000 that he can put towards his debt, you can basically wipe this out in like 2.2 years.
Yeah.
With the interest.
Yeah.
And not have to touch the 401k at all. So
Because you really do not want to touch the 401k.
I'll talk about that here in a second. I did some math while you were reading it, but I would also maybe say like, what things can we sell that this guy has in order to bring enough more money in? On next podcast, we're going to talk about ways to increase your income. So, what ways can we use to increase our income? Can we negotiate for a higher pay? Can we start doing like a gig economy side hustle type thing during this portion of life? At this point, you can do the debt management plan. I really like that this guy has not mentioned at all declaring bankruptcy.
That's good.
So I really
taking ownership.
I like the taking ownership of it.
Because bankruptcy, it's not like, oh, I took bankruptcy, let's start over. Like, no, it stays on your record for a long time.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, so I do like that he's trying to take this on his own. But honestly, I would leave the 401k alone because even if we have to go to the last resort, which is bankruptcy, your 401k would still be spared.
Yeah, it's not going to touch that.
It wouldn't be touched that. So just based off what I see right here, and then after that, we're going to go into a 401k just so I can show you the math on why I wouldn't touch the 401k. If you are correct and your monthly fixed cost is $5,500, I would talk to your spouse. I would talk to the kids and say, hey guys, mom and dad made some mistakes, but we're going to take ownership of it. We're going to fix it. But what that means is we're going to need buy-in from all the kids over the next 2 years to 2.5 years. We're going to really have to buckle down. Mom and dad might have to pick up extra shifts. And we're going to not be able to do all of our fun trips and stuff like that until we get this under control. But the good thing is, dude, you have really high income. And that high income can help to take out this debt.
That's the saving grace here.
Yeah, that is the saving grace, is that we can do it. But again, we have to fix the habit. But it seems like right now, based off what I'm seeing, is that there's a problem and you're just looking for the best way to fix it. I hope this debt management plan didn't cost you extra money. Unfortunately, they normally do because obviously they got to get paid too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely not touch the 401k. And here's the reason why. You said you're in your late 30s. So let's say you're 36, 37, which means you probably have about 30 years of retirement left. $1 compounded over the next 30 years at 8% would be $11. So that means you take your $240,000 that's currently in your 401k over the next 30 years, due to the power of compound interest, will grow to $2.4 million.
Yeah.
Is paying off your debt worth $2.4 million in the future? And we also need to take into account this. You said your income is $190,000. If you take the $240,000 out, that's going to be added to your highest marginal tax bracket. Given that you're married filing jointly, that'll put you into the 32% tax bracket. Just for quick math, taking the taxes out and the penalty for withdrawing early, your $240,000 would only become $140,000. That's a rough estimation. So you're basically demolish your entire 401k and you didn't even pay off your debt. We still would have $60,000 that you have to come up with.
Yeah. And I think there's something that you didn't mention that is like super important. Like if you were to pull out of your 401k, wipe out your debts, start clean, that doesn't change the psychology of it.
Nope.
You can still put yourself back in the same hole, and now you don't have your 401k. Now you're 100, 200k less in your 401k. And it's like you're back to square one, but worse.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Don't touch the 401k because it's not worth the 2.4 million, million with the M, million over time with compounding interest.
Yeah. So again, the best thing for this gentleman to do would be stick to your debt management plan. But if your fixed costs really are $5,500 a month, so $66,000 a year, that's $100,000 extra dollars that you can be putting towards your debt. Are you gonna have to tighten the belt a lot? Yeah, you're definitely gonna tighten the belt because I don't know where that $100,000 is currently going.
Money doesn't disappear.
It doesn't disappear, so it's going somewhere. wherever it's going, we're going to need to divert it to the debt and paying it off of whatever approach that you find to be the best. And that's what makes personal finance personal. You can figure out what's going to be best there. And if you need help, reach out to me. You can always go to chris@monsonwealth.com, go to Mons on Wealth. You've reached out this way. So yeah, reach out and I'd be happy to walk you through that or to be there to kind of coach you through the money psychology portion of it. But yeah, dude, you can definitely get out of this.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially with your income.
100%. You know, and I really appreciate putting the story out there. You know, and letting us use him as an example of, you know, what to do, what not to do, how to operate, you know, and stuff like that. It takes guts to, you know, take ownership of your problem and really say, you know what, I put myself here, but darn it, I'm going to give myself out.
Yep.
And I can respect that.
And I respect that. And I definitely understand, like, saying, I want to, let's just take the 401k out and let's just eliminate these debts. But to me, it doesn't make sense. I don't think it's worth it.
And I don't think it's worth it to him either.
No, I don't
You
think.
know, once you put it in perspective of the compounding interest and all that. You know,
Yeah, and we'll see what he ends up deciding to do. Maybe we'll write back in and let us know down the line. But yeah, dude, if you're right on your fixed costs at $5,500 a month, you could be putting a lot of money towards your debt every month.
Yeah.
You know, substantially more actually. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. Honestly, yeah, like fixed costs with that low with 4 kids, guessing wife and him. I mean, $5,500 a month is
You could-
66,000.
He should be able to put, if he's accurate and he really tightens the belt and he sticks to the 500 and 5,500, he could be putting $8,666 towards the debt every month.
Yeah. So the first month he can knock off a credit card.
Yep.
The first one.
The first month, yeah, knock off one credit card. The second month, you can knock off a second credit card.
But you really, if you were really like strategizing it, getting into the numbers, you shouldn't attack the one with 0%.
No.
That doesn't make sense. When you have ones that are like
26%.
26 wild stuff, you know, it's, yeah.
I would focus on those, all the ones that are 26s first. Then I would go to the 19, the 45 personal loan. Then the 8K, the 10K, that 0% interest is probably going to jump at some point. So you're going to have to look at that and say, when is that going to start up?
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a lot of things here. But you know what you have to do. Again, I would not look at the 401k as much of an option. I would really just try to tighten the belt as much as you can and bring your family in on this. I think a lot of parents, they try to shield their kids from money problems. But unfortunately, when you do that, you end up just creating a money problem for your kid in the future because they never watch their parents have to struggle with these things because we all struggle with these things. But yeah, I think if you bring it in, make it a family ordeal that we're all going to make it through this. This is the consequences of our actions, but this is how we're going to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.